The Wishing Chair. Chapter 2. The Giant Castle. Each day, Molly and Peter ran down to their playroom in the garden and looked at their wishing chair to see if it had grown the wings again. But each time they were disappointed. It hadn't. "It may grow them in the night," said Peter, "but we can't possibly keep coming here in the dark to see. We must just be patient." Sometimes the children sat in the chair and wished themselves away, but nothing happened at all. It was really very disappointing. And then, one day, the chair grew its wings again. It was a Saturday afternoon, too, which was very jolly, as the children were not at school. They ran down to the playroom and opened the door, and the very first thing they saw was that the chair has grown wings. They couldn't help seeing this, because the chair was flapping its wings about as if it was going to fly off. "Quick, quick!" shouted Peter, dragging Molly into the chair. "Jump in, it's going to fly." They were just in time. The chair rose up in the air, flapping its wings strongly, and made for the door. Out it went and rose high into the air at once. The children clung in tightly in the greatest delight. "Where do you suppose it is going?" asked Peter. "Goodness knows," said Molly. "Let it take us whatever it wants to. It will be exciting anyhow. But it goes back to that funny shop. If it goes back to that funny shop, we can easily jump off and run away when it goes in at the door." But the chair didn't go to the old shop. Instead, it kept on steadily towards the west, where the sun was beginning to sink. By and by a high mountain rose up below, and the children looked down at it in astonishment. On the top was an enormous castle. "Where this, I wonder?" said Peter. "Oh, I say, Molly, the chair is going down to the castle." Down it went, flapping its rose-wet wings. Soon it comes to the castle roof, and instead of going lower and finding a door or a window, the chair finds a nice flat piece of roof and settles down there with a sigh, as if it were quite tired out. "Come on, Molly, let's explore," said Peter excitedly. He jumped off the chair and went to a flight of enormous steps that led down to the inside of the castle. He peeped down. No one was about. "This is the biggest castle I ever saw," said Peter. "I wonder who lived there. Let's go and see." They went down the steps and came to a big staircase leading from a landing. On every side were massive doors, bolted on the outside. "I hope there are no prisoners inside," said Molly, half afraid. The stairs suddenly ended in a great hall. The children stood and looked in astonishment. Sitting at an enormous table was a giant as big as 6 men. His eyes were on a book, and he was trying to add up figures. 3 times 7, 3 times 7, 3 times 7, he muttered to himself. I never can remember. What's that miserable little pixel? If he doesn't know, I will turn him into a black beetle. The giant lifted up his head and shouted so badly that both children put their hands over their ears. Binky, Binky! A pixel, not quite as big as the children, came running out of what looked like a scullery. He held an enormous boot in one hand and a very small boot brush in the other. Stop cleaning my boot and listen to me, ordered the giant. I can't do my sums again. I'm adding up all I spent last week, and it won't come right. What are 3 times 7? 3 times 7? said the pixel, with a frightened look on his little pointed face. That's what I said, thundered the bad-tempered giant. I know they are the same as 7 times 3, said the pixel. Well, I don't know what 7 times 3s are either, roared the giant. You tell me, what's the good of having a servant who doesn't know these tables? Quick, what are 3 times 7? I don't know, stammered the poor pixel. Then I'll lock you into the top room of the castle until you do know, cried the giant in a rage. He picked up the pixel and went to the stairs. Then he saw the children standing there, and he stopped in astonishment. Who are you, and what are you doing here? He asked. We'll just come on a flying visit, said Peter boldly. We know what 3 times 7s are, and 7 times 3 too. So if you let that pixel go, I'll tell you. You tell me, then, you clever children, cried the giant, delighted. There are 21, said Peter. The giant, still holding the pixel tightly in his hand, went across the table and added up some figures. Yes, 21, he said. Now, why didn't I think of that? Good. Let the pixel go, begged Molly. Oh, no, said the giant, with a wicked grin. He shall be shut up in the top room of my castle, and you shall be my servant instead, and help me to add up my sums. Come along with me whilst I shut up Binky. He pushed the 2 angry children in front of him and made them go all the way up to the stair until they came to the topmost door. The giant unbolted it and pushed the weeping pixel inside. Then he bolted it again and locked it. Quick, whispered Peter to Molly. Let's race up these steps to the roof and get on to our magic chair. The two of them shot up the steps to the roof. The giant didn't try to stop them. He stood and roared with laughter. "Well, I don't know how you expect to escape that way," he said. "You'll have to come down to the steps again, and I shall be waiting here to catch you. Then what a spanking you'll get." The children climbed out on to the flat piece of castle roof. There was the chair, standing just where they had left it, its red wings gleaming in the sun. They threw themselves into it, and Peter cried, "Go to the room where the little pixel Binky is." The chair rose into the air, flew over the castle roof, and then down to a big window. It was opened, and the chair squeezed itself inside. Binky the pixel was there, sitting on the floor, weeping, and he saw the chairs coming in, with the two children sitting in it. He was so astonished that he couldn't even get up off the floor. "Quick!" cried Molly. "Come into this chair, Binky. We'll help you to escape." "Who is talking in there?" boomed the giant's enormous voice, and the children heard the bolts being undone and the key turned to unlock the door. "Quick, quick, Binky!" shouted Peter, and he dragged the amazed pixel to the magic chair. They all three sat in it, huddled together, and Peter shouted, "Take us home!" The door flew open and the giant rushed in just as the chair sailed out of the window. He ran to the window and had grabbed at the chair. His big hand knocked against a leg, and the chair shook violently. Binky nearly fell off, but Peter grabbed at him and pulled him back safely. Then they sailed high up into the air, far out of reach of the angry giant. "We are escaped!" shouted Peter. "What an adventure! Cheer up, Binky. We'll take you home with us. You shall live with us, if you like. We have a fine playroom at the end of our garden. You can live there and no one will know. What fun we'll have with you and the wishing chair." "You're very kind to me," said Binky gratefully. "I shall love to live with you. I can take you on many, many adventures." "Hooray!" shouted the two children. "Look, Binky, we're going down to our garden." Soon they were safely in the garden, and the chair flew in at the opened door of the playroom. Its wings disappeared, and it settled itself down with a long sigh, as if to say, "Home again." "You can make a nice bed of the cushions from the sofa," said Molly to the pixel, "and I'll give you a rag from the hall chest to cover yourself with. You must go now, because it is past our tea time. We'll come and see you again tomorrow. Good luck."